Hello YouTube, welcome back to another Star Citizen news episode for the 23rd of the 3rd, 2020. Guys, today this episode is actually quite a serious episode indeed, and something that no one's really actually taking full reflection of. So what we've decided to do is take a bit of a serious stance on this and make this a very, very serious episode. So those of you that are not looking for something that's a bit of a reality check today, maybe you might want to tune out now. For those of the rest of you that want to hear about the truth of what's probably going to be happening with Star Citizen, CIG and Squadron 42 over the next 12 months, please stay tuned in. And yeah, now today ILW is going to be taking the reins on this episode, and this is going to be his lead on this one. So guys, please pop back in the comments and tell us what you think at the end of the video. Anyway, ILW, over to you.
So, this episode is all about the forbidden word. It's about the coronavirus. Now, I've seen other videos on the same topic talking about how the coronavirus will affect CIG's operation. That's not what this video is going to be. It's going to be the concern that the coronavirus will affect the CIGs to be able to not only operate, but fund their operation. Will the coronavirus, because it's all crowd-funded, all the money's from the backers, so they don't have steady stream of income. All the income is from us. If we don't have the money to give CIG, they go out of business. The coronavirus is hard on the global economy, and there are some real concerns that all the expendable income that we use to buy our spaceships and we use to fund CIG, that's going to slow down to a point where CIG might not be able to operate anymore. Go ahead, CTT. Let's go ahead and go to the first article. That's going to talk about the impact of the coronavirus on the economy, and we're going to make some commentary on that. So go ahead, CTT. Please take it away.
So guys, coronavirus, how did Covid-19 affect the games industry this year so far? Well, it's had some pretty massive impacts on the social gathering side of things, social distancing and so on, but I'll let ILW take it away from here.
Yeah, so go ahead and start taking me down. There's there's a lot of things of interest in the article. One of the things are some studios have actually closed their doors because of the coronavirus. The gaming is going to have a big impact. Let's go ahead and have a look, and we'll go ahead and start breaking it all down. So here we are. First of all, game and hardware delays. This part of the article. The Outer Worlds. On February 6th, Private Division announced that it was delaying the Nintendo Switch release of the Outer Worlds. Virtuous, the developer working on the port, closed its office in Singapore due to COVID-19, which impacted heavily on its ability and its development time of originally March 6, 2020. It's been delayed. So the entire studio closed its doors because of the coronavirus. Well, CTT, what do you think about, which we're going to get into it a little bit later, but what do you think about the CIG businesses having to close their doors? Because if you think CIG, California just hit a major quarantine. We're going to go into all of it. California, where one of CIG's major offices are located, just got into a major quarantine. Germany is going into a quarantine really soon. So is the UK. It's really concerning that all the places the CIG offices are located are going into a quarantine where the employees can't even get to work. What do you think?
My greatest concern, mate, is that we're going to have an issue with people working satellite. Yeah, not working from home, but actually not working from home. The problem with the whole structure of business and the history of business is that, you know, it's the whole workhouse attitude. It's the whole supervisation. It's the whole focus on watch everything you do, make sure you don't steal a penny or two, to the point now where we're in 2020, and now coronavirus or not, that model of business really no longer works. And the flexibility of high-skilled, highly qualified workers working off-site at home are able to actually create 4 times as much throughput of work compared to being stuck in a busy, noisy, loud office is beneficial, very beneficial for the businesses that employ them. Unfortunately, we are looking at a lot of kittens around fountains, and those kittens need a lot of supervision because, as we already know, they're kids, they've come from college, and this is their first real job in game development, in coding, not just working in a supermarket or a takeaway shop. this is their first proper career role. They need a lot of direction, a lot of supervision, as well as a lot of mentoring to be able to exceed the requirements of role in future and become these people that are very autonomously work from home without any supervision at all. My most grave concern is that these devs, if they're working satellite, there is no one supervising them, and the quality of work, if not throughput of work, is going to suffer dramatically, and that is going to obviously really cause some major concerns for us as backers, and might end up with a few nails and a few coffins. Just put it that way.
I mean, we could have said it better. Let's go ahead and scroll down just a little bit more and see if we can find anything else from this article of importance, and we'll continue on. So as you can see in the article, trade shows have been canceled. So we all know that E3, in case you didn't know, E3, PAX East, many game and trade shows are being canceled. So not only are the operations at CIG being affected, but their biggest shows that they work all year for, we all know that they say the best things for CitizenCon and like that. All that's being canceled. So the entire workplace, the entire business of CIG, everything is being affected by this coronavirus. The question is, without the CitizenCon hype, they get the CitizenCon, they get the citizens all hyped up with all the new stuff, and then they put a bunch of ships on sale, and that's their biggest sale of the entire year, is the sale directly after CitizenCon. Everybody knows this. Will they be able to even generate the same type of revenue that they normally generate because of the coronavirus? CTT, what do you think?
I reckon that the gaming industry has been on a pretty severe decline for about, 5 years now, guys? Maybe 6 years. I believe that we are finally coming to a grinding halt for gaming as an industry. I think that the corporatization, the Microsofts of the world are really trying to draw us away from entertainment and more towards productivity. So if you're looking at what Star Citizen wants to achieve with server meshing, that is purely a productivity activity. It's nothing to do with entertainment. It's to do with hardware, software, coding, and a lot of networking. So much that I couldn't even begin to wrap my brain around. Star Citizen started off fun. It started off entertaining. It started off visionary. It started off exciting. It started off as the dream that people in our age group, mate, we have been waiting for since the good old days of ping and pong. But sadly, it's not going to happen now. I don't see Squadron 42 being a AAA blockbuster, mind-blowing, break all the rules, break all the mindsets and change the way gaming's been thought of through all this time. I believe it is going to be a suitable single-player series of acts or episodes that will tie in nicely with the PU, if we ever get that. And it's part and parcel. It is the single player element of the multiplayer game, like Call of Duty and so many other games of the kind, where the single player campaign's usually pretty average and then the multiplayer is the real purpose of the game. I hope to God that that's not the case, because we are looking at a lot of backlash. It's just, I'm trying to keep this very polite and well-mannered because of the seriousness of the video. Mate, I don't see much success ahead of us with the project. I don't see much success ahead of us with the economy, with the way in which the game economy is going to work, with people continuing to pledge money. As we had a chat in a prior conversation prior to this video, and I said, you got to be a bit nuts to continue to spend money at this time on digital JPEGs. So, look, if you are, and you've got disposable income, and you feel that you are financially secure and safe enough, all the more power to you. But if you're an everyday person who's living from week to week, from paycheck to paycheck, really have a look at your priorities for your sake and nobody else's, and see if this is something that you should still be needing to put money towards. That's all I'm saying. What about you, mate? What do you think of that?
So it's exactly what he said. So there were always going to be the people that use their expendable income on Star Citizen. I'm one of them. The thing is that now the expendable income is going away because your job where you would normally go, it's closed. You're not able to get into work. There's no definite time frame on how long this is going to last. I have hope. He's like, the end of it. I have hope that Squadron 42 can release. Its sales can kind of boost the numbers to kind of bring up the lagging funding that's going to be coming, because we all know it's going to be coming. Let's be real. And it kind of brings CIG on track for the year, but we don't know how long the virus is going to last. We don't know when Squadron 42 is going to release. There's a lot of things up in the air, and you're kind of foolish, no insult to the audience, if you're not concerned about how the coronavirus will affect a crowdfunded project like Star Citizen. So what I would like to do is we have some videos prepared on the economy. We're going to go ahead and start rolling those. I know on screen you see work from home policies. We're going to get into that a little bit later, but for now, let's talk about the economy. Go ahead, CTT.
Yeah. All right. So look, without further ado, let's just move into the first video. Alrighty.
Let's start with what's quite a striking chart, just showing you economic activity in the manufacturing sector in China. And here you have the biggest plunge that we've seen in this index. It's a measure of just how much activity is going on in the manufacturing sector. Anything above the line is expansion, anything below is contraction. Just look at how much it plunged, even more as a result of Covid-19 and the shutdowns we've seen in China than at any point going back to the financial crisis. Worse, in fact, than many months in the financial crisis. And the upshot of this is that there have been some very visible impacts on China. The shutdown of factories, actually, if you look at these pictures showing you pollution around China, so there you have Wuhan, and there you've got Hong Kong, and you can see pollution around China in January, and just look at what happened in February, a complete disappearance of pollution around these areas. And economists are putting that down to the shutdown in many factories around China. So good in terms of air pollution, but in terms of economic activity, well, there's the concern.
Okay, so as you can see, all right, Sky News isn't the best source. CTT personally doesn't like them, but what they're reporting on, it's public knowledge. It can't be disputed. The pollution impact, the economic impact, all that is real. All that is based on third parties, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, they're all covering on this. So this is the true reality. No matter what your job is, you're going to be affected in some way by the coronavirus. And if this is affected really 90% of Star Citizen backers. Very few in the civilian sector like me who work on a hazmat team, I'm going to be fine. If you work at a hospital, you're going to be fine as far as the being able to make money. If you work for the state and some state capacity for the government, you're most likely going to be fine. The people that go to work every day and work as a trucker, logistics is going to be affected. If manufacturing is halted, logistics is affected. So many things are affected. So many backers of CIG who aren't working in a critical industry or a needed industry, whatever buzzwords they use. If you're not in that, you're going to be heavily affected. So the main backers of CIG across the entire world, because it's affecting every country, it's affecting CIG's ability to make money. Okay, we're not coming in from the production. We're going to come in that later. For now, we're going to talk about their ability to make money to pay their actual employees. Remember, they operated at a loss last year, from my knowledge. From the last financials that we saw, they operated at a loss. They can't afford a global pandemic. This could really lead CIG into bankruptcy. CTT, what do you think?
Yeah, and guys, I've been doing a stupid amount of news watching, researching, trying to cut through all of the fluff and the garbage we see from the mainstream media, watching analysts on YouTube, listening to other people through podcasts, reading through extremely boring news articles done by actual analysts, not actual media. And when we're talking about the fiscal breakdown of this whole thing, that chart really doesn't do true justice to how serious an issue we're actually about to come up and face as a world. This has never happened in the history of human beings, guys. So, yes, we're talking about Star Citizen, and yes, it is quite a trivial matter compared to the far greater picture, but at the same time, we know there's a very large proponent of our audience, or not our audience, our community, should I more focus that statement against, that have some problems. Whether those problems are gambling problems, their mental health issues, their social issues, those people are so heavily invested because they have a need for relevance or for company or companionship or friendship. Those people themselves, the ones who are the most affected by this in the community, are going to probably be the ones that are going to become very depressed, very angry, very, sad. And this also raises a moral and ethical issue for me as a backer myself, just like ILW is too. The moral and ethical issue is for me is that CIG has indefinitely lied since pretty much day one. And at no stage have they actually taken a moral stance to say, hey, what if we don't actually ever get this finished? What about the people with mental health in our community? What about the people that really can't afford this but are stuck in, the gambling rut? We've already done a video about that recently. What about those people that already have depression and this was their way of therapy? This is their personal therapy. It was to get in there, have some fun with some really nice fun people and shoot some bad guys or knock out some NPCs or, just go around, do some mining or cargo running and having a good laugh and a chat, being part of something bigger and removing themselves from isolation. Has CIG at any stage thought of those people? Now, I'll leave that question up to you guys and let you answer it for however you see fit. But ILW, back to you.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go. So we have another video on this subject. Let's go ahead and take it into the next video. Take it away, CTT.
Alrighty.
Let's bring in Paul Schatz, president of Heritage Capital, and Brian Nick of Nuveen, where he's the chief investment strategist. Good morning to you both. Paul, I will start with you. I know you as a pretty upbeat guy, but when you see a market like this that got hammered on Monday, it will be hammered again today, hammered yesterday. Are you all in cash?
No, I think, so that's the common question from people is, when do I pull the ripcord? If so, when do I pull the ripcord? 31 years in the business, here's what I've learned. If you weren't smart enough near the peak to take some action, personally, I've always found it difficult to pull the ripcord into what is probably the biggest panic since either 08 or 87. So I don't think, for me anyway, I think the answer is you close your eyes, swallow hard, and if you're uncomfortable with the risk you have, you wait for that first bounce. The first bounce will come because there's always a bounce, whether it's today or tomorrow or early next week, but eventually there will be a very sharp bounce from this because clearly markets are not going to zero. But I think when people panic just emotionally, that they may feel good for a day or two, but after that, they look back and say, I should have held on.
Brian, what are your thoughts? When do you pull the ripcord?
Yeah, the problem is if you're asking somebody to take a leap, but you're not telling them how deep the hole is, because we don't know. This is a healthcare crisis at its core, and I think the reason you're seeing the response from the central bank actions, both the Fed and now the ECB, and also from the president's speech last night, is there's not a solution yet. There's not a proposed solution to the healthcare crisis. So what we're looking for is not a certain economic number, jobless claims, unemployment rate moving up or down. It's really, when do we start seeing a succession of an increase, a daily increase in the number of new coronavirus cases in the United States and in the affected countries in Europe? And until we see that, I don't think we're going to be increasing risk at all. Now, at the same time, we came into this relatively defensively positioned in the credit markets and in the equity markets. So I don't get the sense that our portfolio managers are paring back risk even more. But are we bottom feeding? Are we trying to, go for names that have gotten beaten up the worst in energy or industrials, materials? Not until we see a sign that there's going to be a light at the end of this tunnel and we kind of know when we're going to hit it.
Brian, and don't laugh at this because I have gotten 3 emails in my box regarding a potential Great Depression. And I can't believe I'm even asking these questions or I see this stuff in my box. Are we there yet?
ILW, I think you should lead with that now.
For sure, the economy is going into a recession. The past several years, when CIG has been at its most productive, has been in the boom. Now we're going back into a recession. Remember, it was in the recession that they were at their slowest. When the economy started to boom, that's when they went into their fastest, and most things started to be done. Let me just ask you this quick question, CTT. So most backers are married and they have a family. If you told to your wife and you said, "Honey, I know I know how the situation is in Australia where you are." Your wife knows, your whole family knows. If you say, "Honey, there's a new ship on Star Citizen. Do you think we have the expendable income to spend $300 on the new ship?" What would your wife say, CTT?
Okay, so those of you that are Australian viewers, you know exactly what she's going to say, and I don't want to say those words on the internet. So we'll just move forward from there. It's very, very clear-cut, black and white answer, right? And quite a few profanities to follow. And then me sleeping on the lounge for about 3 weeks. So yeah, definitely not something that I would be even contemplating in discussion. Even if we were wealthy right now, I'd just be looking at the project still and going, well, yeah, maybe that extra $3,000 could be much better invested somewhere else. I don't know, gold.
Let me take it right from there. So we're going to go to an articles. We're going to ask what the experts, because a lot of people are going to be watching the news, you're going to listen to the experts. They're going to be thinking about the coronavirus. So with the coronavirus currently devastating the U.S. economy, what do the experts have to say? Speaking of money being spent, expendable income that you normally would have spent on a spaceship and got your wife's permission for those of us who are married, because we can't just spend $300 like that. Let's see what the experts say you should spend your money on. Previously, we had expendable income you're spending on spaceships. This is the time of the coronavirus. So we're going to take a look down and see what the experts say in this article about where you should spend your money. Health experts and governments around the world are urging caution, but it's also critical to be prepared for the outbreak to become worse. People across the U.S. are already stocking up on basic supplies in the events that they need to stay home from work for a prolonged period of time. Others are canceling trips or forgoing conferences and sporting events. A lot of that's been canceled. The important takeaway from that is leave your investments alone, save your money. Now isn't the time to be frugally spending your expendable income. You don't know when you're going to have it again, so you're going to save it. You don't know what the market is going to do. That's one of the items on the screen. You don't know exactly what the markets are going to do, how things are going to recover. Is it going to go into recession? Is recession going to be so bad that it's a depression? Back to the original point, with all this going on, this is the reality of life right now. Are you thinking about buying spaceships? CTT?
Put it this way, guys. Those of you that are blindly optimistic, good for you. I only wish I had the constitution to be as dedicated towards the positives in life. I really do envy you. My reality, though, is I'm a skeptic. I'm also an analyst, not an analyst of the markets, but an analytical person who looks at the facts, proof, and evidence of everything, conscientiously reads, ensures evidence is correct, and also cuts through the B meter to get to the truth of the actual matter, to then obviously, in the case of YouTube, relay things back to you guys as accurately as humanly possible can be achieved. Where it says here, it's nearly impossible to pick up off the bottom of any market. Look, guys, I don't see the market coming back at this stage. I don't see the rebound that this guy was talking about in the previous video. It's going to have a bounce. No, it's not. It's going to have a pop. And then that pop is going to end up with a lot of broken Humpty Dumptys on the side of the road. Yeah? These guys at Wall Street will say anything to get your money and get you to buy shares or get you to, buy into bonds and stocks. This is the worst time in human history. Look at 2008, the GFC. This exact same thing happened. It's called the Big Short, and it's happening again. But this time, I don't think we're going to actually have any form of fiat currency left. I don't think companies like CIG, who have floundered for 8 years to doing nothing, and we'll get to that towards the end of the video. I'd like to show you guys a pie graph that I've found from another review video in relation to this, in relation to the markets and things like that. And I'm going to repurpose the branding or the naming conventions to, put it back in visual lines with what has actually happened to CIG and the actual project so far. And I think you will be coming to quite a bit of agreement in what I have to say, so please stick around for that. But But yeah, look, I don't see any light anymore. There is no hope. There's no chance. And look, guys, your family, your wife, your kids, or your husband, your kids, that's the most important thing right now. If you're single, if you're somebody who has any of the issues I've pre-mentioned in the video, please get around family as soon as you can. The family and people are so much more worth your time than any computer game will ever be in your entire life. This is why I've let our ILW run the episode, because for me, I don't have many words.
Well, so as I said, it's a change in values. So where we used to have different values, different thoughts, where our money would go, where our time would go, with the coronavirus coming up and money being a real thing that you're going to really clamp down on, it can go to CIG. And because it can go to CIG, I, for one, many of the other backers should be worried about their future. A little bit down in the article, we're going to talk about we're talking about saving, but we're going to go ahead and skip all that. You know, the experts are saying to save your money, to save your expendable income. You don't know when you're going to get it back. There's other people right now on the CIG that are for CIG that can only see the light. And they're going to talk about how the game development is going to be affected, what the CIG employees are going to do different. What they're not going to talk about is how are they going to get the money to pay the CIG employees, because the money is from us. So please, CTT, please go to the Board Gamer video and let's see what he has to say on the coronavirus, his thoughts, and that'll take us right into working from home, which is our next portion of the video. Go ahead.
Alrighty.
Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. I wanted to talk about COVID-19, the coronavirus, and what this could mean for Star Citizen's development. It is one of the most frequently asked questions I have in my comments at the moment. I am certainly not a medical expert, so please bear that in mind, but I do think it's an important topic to cover. CIG said on Monday, due to the situation surrounding COVID-19, we're taking extra precautions to ensure the safety of all our developers. We're still in the process of figuring out those precautions and how they will impact our regularly scheduled live shows. Keep an eye out for more information concerning this week's planned Star Citizen Live. So it's very possible that Star Citizen Live and other videos and other live things that CIG would have produced on their channels may be affected in the short to medium term, because they're going to be...
Just a quick question. With that said, that's the truth. Before we continue, think about the subscribers on Star Citizen. Okay, all the CIGs are going to be affected because they're not going to be in the office. So what are the subscribers going to do that pay the CIG's money with their subscription money? What are they going to do when they no longer get community content? Are they going to keep paying their subscription?
No.
There might not be the crew or people around in the offices to actually record a lot of this stuff with. However, expect other types of content to potentially replace it. They can still contact each other over Skype calls. There can still be written content. We can see stuff on Spectrum. But just expect that there might be some little changes in the next couple of months to sort of like accommodate for that. I've talked to a couple of CIG employees about what's happening in their offices with the virus and the advice they've given to employees and actually how the development is going there. So is the current situation going to cause delays? Well, even if they are minimal, it's going to cause some tasks to be delayed or at least some disruption in normal operation of the studios. Some CIG employees are working from home, either in self-isolation or because it's sensible to do so. So if someone is ill in your household in the UK at the moment and you live with other people, you're supposed to all isolate for 14 days, for example. And I think a lot of people are taking that pretty seriously to curb the quick spread of the virus so that the hospitals and sort of healthcare systems aren't overburdened. And that's the idea there. With people being able to work from home and some people being advised to do so, CIG is actually quite lucky in this regard, as most of CIG's employees can work from home without it drastically affecting their work. If they're working on art or code or whatever, they have all of this infrastructure and their cloud already set up. That's how they were sharing data anyway. They are a multinational studio with studios all across the world. And because of that infrastructure, they are able to access all of this work remotely and work on it still, even when in isolation, even potentially when ill. I doubt there is anything that is not accessible, sort of like offline, local only, data-wise, but if there is like some sort of like special build of Squadron, then I suspect that would be made accessible. However, I'm pretty sure that everything code-wise and for the builds for their game is all grabbed online anyway. It's all grabbed and accessible by all of their employees. They used to have loads of contractors working remotely as well, and so they are used to this sort of setup.
Like the rest of that video, if you're really keen on watching Ball Gamer's channel, all the more power to you. Good for you, Ball Gamer, for doing a video on the subject matter at least. That's really appreciated from us as well. I did find it a little bit too fluffy. This is a very, very, very serious matter, and it shouldn't have been so lightly brushed over as just a game article discussion. But yeah, each their own. Your style's your style, our style's our style. I'm very concerned that this is going to become the new standard for CIG, where basically they just put people off. What Ball Game was trying to allude to is that there is quite a few devs that have basically been sent home to not come back. The management themselves, so Tony, Brian, Sean, who else could you think of, really, who's left in senior management, are working from home. Jared Huckabee, well, anyway, I feel that they are starting to take stock. They are starting to realise from the very beginning of this year, from the videos we've watched and the videos we've brought to your guys' attention, that they realise this is a race that can't be won. With coronavirus coming in on top of that, well, I think these guys are starting to make alternate preparations, and they do not include getting any work done on Squadron 42 or Star Citizen at this stage. ILW?
All right, so here's the thing. So they had talked about working from home and continuing to work from home. Here's the whole thing to think about. So most of the people that work on Star Citizen, they're on the younger side. Most of the core developers are on the younger. He says, they're kids, which is a good thing because the youth don't seem to be as affected as the coronavirus. So in that way, it's good. Here's in the way that it's bad. Because CIG isn't known to be the most well-paying employer of game developer in that area, they're not going to have computers powerful enough to run Star Citizen. And develop on Star Citizen. All the computers that CIG has, if you go look at them and watch other videos, you see how powerful those machines are. The only way for them to continue working as normal is to take the towers, take the screens, take all that, put them in those people's houses for them to work about. Board Gamer talked about that. So we got all of this, and they talked about how bad the communication is at CIG, being able to communicate. Now, put everybody in different houses and try to have some type of Skype, and then they're working on the builds, and where do you upload the build to? You could upload it to the cloud. How long is that going to take? Think about the traffic. We're going to get into an article. Go ahead, CTT, and bring the article up. It's talking about how your internet traffic is going to be throttled and everybody's going to be on the network because CIG aren't the only one working at home. Everybody in the whole country, when they go into lockdown, will be working from home. Think about how cluttered the network will be, how slow the upload speeds will get down to when every single person in the entire country is on the internet because they have nothing else better to do. So that's a huge concern about CIG even be able to communicate with each other because of their big shutdown.
The work from home plan is hitting some glitches. Some Apple workers have found they can't do their jobs remotely because of the security software installed by Apple to fend off outsiders. That, according to the Wall Street Journal. Google also sent home 119,000 employees, and now it's reportedly getting overrun with requests for remote working equipment, computers, cables, printers. Real challenges are in store, and Contessa Brewer joins us via Skype from home, perhaps, with more.
Well, John, I'm actually at the home of CEO Martin Smithmeyer of AmeriCorps Blood Services. They collect umbilical cords and right now are working on stockpiling stem cells. And he, like millions of other Americans, is trying to log on from home. 100% of his staff right now working remotely. And they're joining, of course, the college kids. They are joining the elementary school kids, everybody trying to get on at once, which leaves us with a few big challenges, right? One is capacity. picture the Lincoln Tunnel. If you've got very little traffic going into the tunnel, everything is smooth sailing. You take a whole lot of cars and try to shove them through the tunnel, and all of a sudden you've got a 2-hour slowdown. And then if you are connecting to your corporate devices via VPN, that is a secure tunnel which connects your devices to your corporate network, that's likely experiencing massive slowdowns. In fact, Atlas VPN shows usage in Italy grew by 112% last week, and in the United States, it grew by 53%. Now, interestingly, Verizon tells us it's not seeing a significant uptick in internet usage. Let's see if that changes this week. But in Italy, we know that Telecom Alitalia actually saw a 53%, no, that's right, the number here, 70% increase in internet traffic. The head of that telecom says that was all Fortnite. The other big challenge at working from home is security at this point.
Network congestion, everybody's working at home. All the challenges that are going to come with it, all the devices you don't even think about because it's at the office is no longer going to be there, and it's going to be at your home. And all of CIG's employees, what I think is 500, will now have to, most of them, pick up their computers, take it home, take all this other stuff. We have to have a good internet speed. Who even knows what their internet speed is like? You know, for all I know, because the developers are so young, they share the house with 4 and 5 other people in the house that are all going to be cluttering the network, and they're trying to take care of business. Who knows what type of work setup they have? Because I know when my wife started to work from home, we had to actually build a work setup for her to be able to work from home. Most of these employees just aren't going to have that. They never needed it. Of course they're not going to have it. Lots and lots of big concerns. CTT, what's your take?
That was an excellent analogy and perfect example of the serious issues that are ahead of us. Now, guys, keep in mind, most Italian families spend a lot of time together for food and drink, as well as entertainment. So keep in mind, if the Italian internet providers are having a nightmare with very family orientated people, imagine what most Westerners are going to experience. You're going to get about 300 kilobytes worth of internet speed at the best of times. You're going to call up your ISP, and your ISP is going to go, well, there's not much we can do about it. Or otherwise, better yet, you get an answering machine. Tough luck. This is the internet, and you're all at home, so we're not here either. Deal with it. And guys, this is the thing. All of the luxuries and all the things that we're so used to are going to slowly disappear. And the luxury of having electricity on may soon be an absolute luxury for a small percentage of people. Yeah, we've got to be very realistic about what's going on. Now, yes, this could hopefully, fingers crossed, toes crossed, and everything crossed, because I've got kids. ILW's got a kid on the way. Not him, his wife. But the whole thing is, guys, you know, let's be optimistic in that respect. 3 months, hopefully it just all washes over, and you know, someone who has a natural immunity to it, you know, gets their blood taken, and they get the enzymes from their blood, and you know, an antivirus or, you know, whatever it is comes out, vaccine, and, you know, solves the problem. On the other hand, if that does not happen, guys, we've got some very, very, very serious roads ahead of us. And, you know, anyone who's a gamer, a PC enthusiast, where our hobby, our passion, our drive, our everything for computers might soon end up with these things on the shelf gathering dust. And what we're actually looking forward to is growing some veggies out in the backyard. So guys, be prepared either way. Don't go into this blindly and go, oh, these guys don't know what they're talking about. If you'd like, I can give you a list of every single video I've watched, every single forum I've read through, every goddamn podcast I've had to dragged myself through to listening, plus the mainstream media stuff. And yeah, to get to this point where I'm sitting here, not being an angry, grumpy skeptic of Star Citizen, but somebody who is extremely concerned for all of us. So, guys, this is the thing. This is something that none of us could ever have prepared for. And whether Star Citizen is going to achieve its goals or not should be the very last of our concerns right now. In Australia, we have just gone into lockdown in New South Wales and Victoria as of tomorrow morning. We are soon going to be not be allowed out of our homes. Toilet paper. What toilet paper? Tissues, if you're lucky. Otherwise, the good old garden hose. Food missing off shelves, and we'll show you some images of that very shortly as well. Guys, I don't see much light, if any, at the end of the tunnel, and don't believe anyone who's telling you everything's going to be alright, because it's just not going to be. Alright,
yes. You know, you have to know. You have to know that CIG are worried about their own financials. I'm sure they have accountants, and I'm sure they've had meetings. Hey, guys, dude, we're crowdfunded, okay? We're crowdfunded, and our backers can't even go to the store to get food because the food is off the shelves. They can't even get essentials. They're going to be stockpiling their money and saving their money. How are we going to continue? Their financials is a concern, like it's never been before. As I said, they operated at a loss. CIG use all the money that they're given, whether it's a good or bad, or they're blowing it or they're wasting it. That's irrelevant. The fact is they use all their money, and they keep very little in reserve. They're a company living paycheck to paycheck for the most part, just like the most people. And just as the most people who live paycheck to paycheck, the company who lives paycheck to paycheck is now going to see a big reduction in the amount of money flowing in. We're going to go into the third segment, and CTT has a thing prepared. He's going to go ahead and take it away with his video, his analogy. Go ahead, CT, and then we'll wrap up after you're done. Go ahead.
So, guys, I'm going to just quickly play this part of this very extensive talk out with the visuals that are provided, and then I'm going to stop the video, and then I'm going to go back through with you the actual reappropriation of the words into C talk, into CIG talk, into backer talk as well. To put things into context, reappropriate those words into things that matter to us and matter to our family. So anyway.
So these are the global assets. Here's the bond market. Here's the stock market. This is the value of real estate on the planet. And these are bank deposits, and there's gold. Now, that little slice of the pie is going to get a lot bigger in just the next few years, and it's not going to do it by a whole bunch more gold just appearing.
So, what the moral of this story is, and the great concern that I think a majority of us backers do have right now, is that little slither of yellow is what's actually been completed in the project so far. When we're talking about the bond market, we're talking about the advertising, the marketing, the psychology of the purchase, the ownership of the project, not an actual JPEG, the actual Star Citizen videos that come out every single week, which is time consuming, very costly, and for of what you've seen recently, not very good return on investment for those of you that have subscribed. Then we move into the share market element, and the share market is your mind share, your emotional attachment to Star Citizen, and how willing you are to defend the project, to defend it from obviously falling over or getting too much bad publicity, too much bad headspace, too much negativity around it because of its extended delivery. Now, yes, there are devs in the audience who are going to go, oh, but you know, this you don't know anything about game development. Okay, you don't have to know anything about game development to be a good business person. I'm a corporate business person. This is not good business. Then we look at that big, huge sway of the pie here, of the chart, that is real estate. Yeah? So this is how much work that still needs to be completed, and then some, in the last part of that chart. The last part of the chart is money wasted and time wasted of that much more that could have been done. So if you look at that purple part of the chart and you double that, that's where we should be right now in development. Instead, we're that tiny little gold slither at the top. People have had a go at me for being so tough on Star Citizen, tough on the Scythians, and then super tough on CIG themselves, and hating Jared and all those things because of this. This is the perfect analogy I've been looking for so very long to visually describe how I see Star Citizen, how I see the world economy, how I see the way people treat each other in the workplace, let alone walking down the street on a daily basis these days. The world has changed. The world's got toxic. The world's got sick. And this chart here demonstrates to all of you that your investment, whether it's emotional, psychological, financial, or in time, has been greatly, including mine and ILW's, a loss in every respect of the word. Because what we hoped for, what we were so excited for and so dedicated for, it's a tiny little gold slither. And this gold is not going to grow in value unless it's the only computer game left on Earth in the next 6 months. I see the end of Star Citizen, and I see it this year. I had projected in earlier videos next year it would start to crumble and administrators would come in and wrap up. I think by the end of this year you're going to see the start of the administration phase, and some form of refund policy being needed to legally be enforced, as the project cannot be completed at this stage as the scope and project was advertised, marketed and promised, and the terms of service that we all assigned and agreed to in the first place, regardless of the reiterations, because if you didn't sign for the second reiteration onwards, then you're non-legally bound to have to abide by those new terms of service because you did not accept the agreement of contract, etc. The terms of service in itself, that you stuck to the original terms of service as your purchase was based upon that knowledge and understanding. When this goes to legal hands, administrators, maybe police, maybe detectives, who knows, and I don't wish ill harm on anybody. I'm just saying that, the law is the law. Whether we're going to have a law in the next 12 months or not, whether we're going to have fiat currency at all in the next 12 months or not, whether we're going to all be living out of their backyard from vegetables and whatever else you can get your hands on, who knows? As I say, hopefully 3 months. But look, this chart here is Star Citizen, and that's it. There's nothing left for CIG to make excuse for anymore. The world's priorities have changed drastically, and so they should.
I'm not quite ready to let Star Citizen go, only because I put so much money into it. So I have hope that there's a hope, and then there's also a concern right on top of that. I have concern that I have hope that CIG is going to have to do just as millions of other businesses across the world is going to have to do, and they're going to have to take out a small business loan or a large business loan, some type of loan against the bank to save their business from all the loss of revenue. Okay, everybody's going to suffer loss of revenue. every single company across the board. CIG is going to be included in that. Some are going to get bailout, but ask yourself, why do you think the government will bail out a small freaking game development studio? Look how irrelevant Star Citizen is versus other studios. Not saying it's irrelevant, but I'm saying versus other studios. Look how small. Look, why would they get the loan? Okay, so they could release Squadron 42, and that could be the savior of it. But even Squadron 42 has its own concerns because the game itself is going to be how many gigabytes. It's going to require how big of a computer. This beefy computer to run it. It's not going to run on the little small crap laptop. You already know that. Star Citizen can only run on an SSD, just as an example of the level of computer it needs to be on. Not saying that's the highest level, but just most games can run on HD. You try on an HHD. You try to run Star Citizen on an HHD and it'll just immediately crash, or it'll just be unplayable. So the size of the file, the internet will be throttled. All the people on the network for the congestion. Are you going to want to buy into Star Citizen when it's going to require 50 gigabytes to download? Just the size, and you have to download all that. You have to download all that on the congestion network. Then you have to have a computer good enough to play it. Most of the backers already do, but guess what? Most of the backers already own a copy of Squadron 42 and Star Citizen. They got them together. A majority of us do. He does, I do, a majority of us do. So how many people are left that have all this and are going to buy into the project? It's extremely concerning. I hope Star Citizen, this isn't the end. I hope this doesn't bankrupt. But as I said, they're a paycheck to paycheck company, and they've proven that with their own financials, which what they've said. And the paychecks are going to stop coming in because we're in a global pandemic with the coronavirus. A global pandemic. Anything else?
Yeah, guys. All I can say is just for now, get close to family. Just worry about what's important in life. Things, possessions, cars, and money. Just forget about it. Get home. Get close to your family. If you're at college, go home. No amount of education is worth losing a family member for. I'm a teacher, remember? I'm a college teacher, and I'm saying this to you. Sometimes in life, our priorities need to be realigned with family first and foremost, whether you get on with them or not. Because you've only got one family in this world, whether you like them or you hate them, they're still your family and they'll always be there for you whether they like it or not either. Guys, I'm not a Christian anymore, but my hopes, my prayers, my wishes, my heart goes out to every single person out there in this audience. Please stay safe. Please don't subject yourself to any situation where you may get sick or get hurt. There's been enough violence in supermarkets throughout the world over toilet paper, for heaven's sakes. The world's sick. And the only way we're going to heal it is, the coronavirus. And I know that's pretty dark, but we need something to shake everyone up and pull the wool from the eyes and wake people from their slumber.
And bring us all together?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Humans are social creatures. That's how we got to where we got now. And technology has pushed us apart. So let's have technology not be part of our day when we're with our family and our friends. Let's spend time with them, having food and dinners with them, and not on your tablets and on your mobile phones. Anyway, guys, that's me. I'm CTT.
And I'm Image Lead the Way.
Peace out, and as per usual, in this case, be safe, and God bless.